Hello, friends. I'm Heidi with Onigo Stamping, and welcome to my craft corner. I am really excited that you're joining me tonight for the October card class, and we're going to be using the big Hooray stamp set, so I'm excited for that. If you are here and joining me live, go ahead and leave me a comment. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know if you are, well, I'll know if you're registered because I know who registered for the class. So hopefully some of you are going to be stamping along with me. If you missed registration for the class, you can still get the tutorials for these cards over on my website. So if you want the written tutorials for these, just pop over to my website. The link is into the description to the video on YouTube, and you can pick up the tutorials for this class from my tutorial store. Hello, Carol Sue, and hello, Jude. I'm glad you guys are here. Hi, Jill. You're from Illinois. Wow. Hi, Karen. Welcome. All right. I'm going to go ahead and flip my cameras around. And the weather has gotten a little bit bad here, and my phone is having issues. So I'm hoping that it gets better because it's just being a little bit jumpy, and it's not that it's overheating. It's nice and cool. Sorry, just feeling it. It's nice and cool. It is all charged up. I think it's just the weather. So unfortunately. Hello, Anne. I'm so glad you made it. So glad you guys are here. So here is the big Hooray stamp set. Isn't it cute? I love this. I just love how big these sentiments are. It is great for making some really easy cards. We're going to go ahead and get started with our first card for tonight. Oh, and you know what? I already forgot to grab something that I knew I was going to forget to grab. So, all right. I'm sorry. I stopped there for a minute because I could tell that my screen was frozen already. So I do apologize for kind of this fuzziness. I think it is the rainy weather. All right. So in your card, in envelope number 1, if you have the card kit, you are going to have 2 pieces of white and a piece of fresh freesia and a piece of gorgeous grape, and you may have another piece of white for the inside. I think I put them in later, so they might be just with your actually card bases. You're going to pull out the fresh freesia card base. I kind of did them separately. I didn't fold them this time. I was kind of running a little bit slow, and sorry, I got to grab something. And not only was I running a little bit slow, but there were some cards that weren't going to fold well. And so I just decided I was just not going to fold them this time. All right. In your card kits, if you have the card kits, you should also have like 5 or 6 rubber bands. Okay. I'm going to pull some rubber bands out of here. Let's see if I got a mixture. I'm trying to get different thicknesses because I actually kind of like some of the thicker ones. Kind of the medium thickness ones. There we go. All right, so I just pulled out a bunch of rubber bands. They're all sitting here. And then I'm going to grab my clear block H, which I thought I had pulled out. And of course, I forgot. I really got to get back to having one desk in that too. So, all right, I'm going to pull out my clear block H. It's this long one. If you don't have an H, you could also use like this one, which is an E, a nice big one. If you have to use a smaller one, you can use a smaller one. You're just going to get a little bit different look. So I'm going to pull out my H, and I'm just going to start by putting some rubber bands on here. Now you can have them twisted if you want that look. I kind of wanted them flat for this one. So I'm trying to get them kind of flat on here. It kind of just creates different looks, right? Like how you do it. So, all right. And I'm going to use this big fat one if I can get it on here. What does it like? A nice big one, right? All right. I'm going to scoot these down. There we go. And then I think I want to get a skinnier one too. So just kind of using different widths of rubber bands on there to get some different interest. And like I said, I'm trying to get mine not to have any twists in them, but you definitely could do it with a twist in it too. It's really not going to hurt anything. It's just going to give you a little bit different look. So I'm going to move all my extra rubber bands out of the way. Get them off my table here. And I want to grab like this medium size. Okay, not the smallest one. And I am going to start stamping on this. So I'm going to start with, I think I'm actually going to start with some fresh freesia. So I have the fresh freesia, and I got my ink pad there. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up my rubber bands. Just like I would ink up a stamp, I'm just like tapping this lightly on here. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp on my piece of cardstock. Now you'll notice some of them didn't come out, and that's okay. This is going to give us kind of like a rough look, right? It's not going to be real nice and steady. So, and it's going to, everybody's going to turn out a little bit different because your rubber bands are going to be a little bit different. Let's just turn this around, I think. So, oh, I didn't get us like anything. Oh, well. All right, so there's the fresh freesia. And I'm going to put the fresh freesia away, and I'm going to go ahead and grab my gorgeous grape ink pad. There's my gorgeous grape. And we're just going to ink that up. Now, we're just going to stamp this on here too. And I'm going to try not to get the stripes like directly on top of each other because I don't want to like cover them up, right? So I'm doing them a little bit off, a little bit different. So there we go. We have some gorgeous grape on there and some fresh freesia. So much fun. And then I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take out my Stampin' Chamois, my chamois here, and I'm just going to carefully kind of wipe this off. There's a lot of extra ink on it because we're going to switch to a completely different color, and I don't want to get that grape in there. So just wiping that off carefully on my chamois. Now, I was really careful when I did that. I ran it in the direction of the rubber bands. If you go against the rubber bands, it's going to make them all like slip and change. So you might want to look at your stamp again and make sure they're looking how you want them to look. Now I'm going to take this and I'm just turning it. I'm re-inking with some Coastal Cabana. And then I'm just going to stamp this the other direction in Coastal Cabana. We're going to make like a plaid. Just going all the way across. Just like that. So now we have this really pretty plaid that we made just with some rubber bands. What do you guys think? Was that a fun different technique? Maybe you've done it before. I don't know. So I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to clean this off a little bit before I touch these rubber bands. I'm just going to throw my rubber bands away because I have lots more. So, but I don't want to touch them because they are, whoo, they're inky. Inky, inky, inky. So, all right. And now we can do the rest of this card. So I have that piece that I just stamped, and I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to a piece of fresh freesia. I got some new glue. Y'all were here last week. You guys know I was running out of glue. It came in my mail, so now I have a new glue to use. So we'll just put some green glue on the back of there. And then I'm going to adhere this to that fresh freesia. So pretty. All right. I'm going to take my fresh freesia. I'm going to fold this in half. I'm going to give it a good squish with my bone folder. And then I'm going to add this piece of gorgeous grape. And I I embossed this all for you with the 3D, the Hive 3D embossing folder. Now you can choose which side you want to use. One of the sides has like a raised bump, and then one of them looks more like a hive. I'm actually going to use like the pebbly looking side for this one. So I'm going to put the adhesive, the green glue, on the hive looking side. It just kind of gives you a different look. So, and I'm just going to put this on my card base, just like that. And then we're going to add our fun plaid. And then we're going to do some more stamping. So put this all together like that. Oh, just love the colors. All right, I'm going to set that aside. Oh, good, Anne, you're loving it so far. I am so happy. So I'm going to take that smaller piece of basic white, and I'm going to start with the fresh freesia again. Just get that there. And I'm going to use that big Hooray stamp. Okay, I'm just going to ink this up. Remember, just tap lightly. It's better to tap a whole bunch of times lightly than to push really hard. So I'm just tapping lightly. You never used the rubber bands to stamp before? Well, good. I'm glad I could show you something different. And I'm just going to stamp this Hooray right on this piece of basic white, just like that. I think I need to re-ink my fresh freesia. All right, and then I'm going to grab my gorgeous grape again, and I'm going to ink this up in gorgeous grape. Okay. Now, when I put this on, I just want to offset it just a little bit. You can kind of see through where it is, and then just stamp again. And that's going to kind of give us a shadow. Isn't that fun? So hopefully you can see that. Just kind of like a shadow in the background. So I'll put the gorgeous grape away. And then I am going to grab my paper snips. And we're just going to fussy cut this out. So it's not too hard. It's pretty easy. They're big letters. So hopefully y'all are having fun with this. Stamping along with me tonight. Don't forget that next month's card class is going to be with the Yeti to Party stamp set, which I think is so cute. I'm loving that Yeti. So it's the Yeti to Party stamp set. That registration is open over on my website. So definitely pop over there and get registered. And I did put the option up there. So you guys know that I add the tutorials that you could just purchase separately later if you don't get the whole card kit. But I decided to go ahead and offer the option that you can just do the tutorials only right from the beginning, and you'll get the tutorials before the online class. If you just want the written tutorials and you don't want the card kit, you can do that now too. So just cutting around this, leaving a little bit of a border, kind of, swooping around it in a bubbly sort of fashion. Hopefully, I'm not watching the screen, so I'm hoping I'm not freezing too much. It looks like maybe it's gotten a little bit clearer than it was when I first started, which is good. This is bad. I always hate that when I jump on, I'm like, oh, why is it so horrible? It's the problem with going live. I love going live so that, you guys can comment and I can chat with you a little bit. But one of the problems with going live is that sometimes the quality is not good and there's not much you can do. All right, so I'm going to take some dimensionals. Now my dimensionals are running low, so I'm down to just the bits that I have cut off the edges, which is good for this because I cut all the way around. I didn't. I gotta finish cutting this because that makes them a little bit skinnier, so they're gonna fit a little better. And then I'm gonna have to dig out some more dimensionals. Should have done that before I started too. I just don't ever think of everything. This is one of the great things about doing this online though, versus, years ago I used to actually go out and do classes in people's home, and I would have to pack up everything and take it with me, and I would always forget something. Pretty much always. Yeah, and I'd have to figure out, So I was going to do this, but I forgot this. So now we're going to do this instead. So that is one of the nice things about just doing this online is I have all of my supplies right here. So when I've forgotten to get something out before I start, I can just grab it. So I try to get everything, but I don't know. I guess I don't know. I think I'm on top of things and then I'm just not. So, all right. So we're just putting that on with dimensionals right in the front. Isn't that fun? And then I'm going to go ahead and you guys all got in your packets, you got some of the adhesive back sequins and gems. So I'm going to pull those out and I am down. I've used quite a few. And I'm going to grab my take your pick tool and I'm just going to grab these Coastal Cabana and Fresh Freesia sequins. So, oops, and I accidentally got two. Let's grab this one. We'll pop it over here. Let's grab a Fresh Freesia one. So there we go. We're just going to add a couple on there. And just a super fun little Hooray card. And you should have a piece of basic white cardstock for the inside as well. And you can put that inside. You could stamp something on there too. So that was card number 1. I hope y'all like it. I'm going to clean off my stamps a little bit before I forget and put them in something else. Look, I have a newer, well, it was newer. Now it looks pretty dirty already from cleaning off my stamps earlier. I have a newer chamois. I get asked this a lot, is how I clean my stamps. And I use the Stampin' Chamois. I just rinse this out. I keep it in an empty stamp case, and we do have the empty stamp cases in the catalog. So I keep this in an empty stamp case, and then, I don't know, like once a week, maybe not even that, and y'all, I stamp a lot, I will rinse it out. So I don't rinse it out every time. And I just close up the case, and it stays damp in there. So I know some people, depending where you live and how often you stamp, you might have troubles with getting mildew in there if you just leave it wet. But I don't have troubles. Plus, I stamp pretty much every day. So, all right, we're going to get started on card number 2. So for card number 2, you need envelope number 2. And then you need this piece of So Saffron cardstock. Oh, Jill, I'm glad that was a new technique for you. So in our piece of number 2 envelope, we're going to pull this out. We have a bunch of small pieces in here. So you have a piece of the Gingham Cottage Designer Series paper. You have a little piece of the Design a Daydream Designer Series paper. We have 2 pieces of So Saffron. We have 2 pieces of Basic White, and these are all the same size. So that's how you know those all go together. Then we have a piece of Basic White and a piece of Blackberry Bliss and a piece of So Saffron. And these are all going to layer on top of each other. Okay, so I'm going to set those aside. We're going to start with these little squares of So Saffron and Basic White. I'm going to grab my paper trimmer because the first thing we're going to do is with the Basic White ones, we are going to go ahead and score these. Make sure I do this right. They should be at 1 1/4. We're going to go ahead and score them one direction at 1 1/4, and they are square. So you're just going to do 1 score line on each of the Basic White ones. Okay. Zip-de-doo. Put that aside. So then we're going to take the Basic White ones. We're going to fold them on that score line. Give them a good crease. Okay. And now they're nice and folded. So we're just going to put the folded edges together towards the inside. Okay. We're going to make them good and folded, and they're nice and down, just like that. And then we're going to add some adhesive. So I'm going to put some green glue on here. You could use other adhesive if you wanted to. And I'm just going to try to keep this squared up. I'm going to take my piece of So Saffron and just put this on here. Now, if this is not perfect, it's okay, because this really isn't going to show once we put the card together. So if it's not perfectly aligned, it's not it's not a problem. So I'm kind of gotten it lined up, but you can see it's not perfect. There's little bits, but it's fine. So I'm going to turn that over, and they're still folded. Can you see their flappy wings there? And I'm just going to put them down flat again. And I'm going to put some green glue back on there. And then we are going to put the other piece of So Saffron on there. Okay. And kind of make this, kind of line it up as best you can. But like I said, it probably won't be perfect, and it doesn't matter. Okay. So there we go. And then we can just set this bit aside for a minute. Okay. I'm going to set that aside. Let's grab our big piece of So Saffron. So hopefully everybody has that little mechanism put together. I call this the slide mechanism. You can kind of see, it looks like, I don't know, an X-Wing fighter. I don't know my Star Wars well enough, but yeah, it's kind of like an X in there. Right. So now I have my piece of So Saffron. Now this is scored on both sides, and we have the shorter side, skinnier side over here. I'm going to just fold that in, and I'm going to give it a good crease. Then I'm going to take this little mechanism, and I'm going to put this So Saffron in between those two whites. Okay, so it's glued down. You don't want to cut apart that glue, but in that fold, you're just going to pop that in that fold. And then we're going to take this side, and we are just going to slide that in there and push it all the way in. Okay, now this is scored, but we're probably not going to fold it exactly on that score line. So then we'll just give that a good crease. And you just want to make sure that it's nice and tight up there. You are going to have a gap right here, and that's fine. You can have a gap there. Not a problem at all. Okay. And then I'm just going to take off our little mechanism. So you can just slide that off. We'll set it aside. We'll come back to it. It's going to come back. And I'm going to grab the Design a Daydream Designer Series paper. And I'm going to adhere this to the little flap on the left. So we'll just pop this over here. Oops, I want it to go this way. And it's just going to go right on there. And then we'll grab the Gingham Cottage paper. Ooh, look at the big gingham. I haven't really used the big gingham as much as the little gingham. I should try it more. So this is going to go over on the large flap. All right. Just line those up. Oops. There we go. There's our card front. Now let's do a little bit of stamping on here. Okay. So I have the piece of basic white, and I'm going to grab the stamp that says big. There's just big on it. And I want to grab my So Saffron ink. And I'm just going to stamp the big in So Saffron. And I'm going to put it a little bit towards the top. Not all the way to the top. It's mostly still kind of in the middle, but it's going to be a little bit towards the top. And you guys, I think that I have like twine string, like not like twine fuzzies everywhere. They're getting on all my stamps. I've been using the silver threaded twine so much that there is twine fuzzies everywhere. All right. Then I want my Blackberry Bliss ink. Oh, my Blackberry Bliss ink. And I'm going to ink up this thanks right here. Oh, so cute. And this is just going to go below the big. So it says big thanks. Just kind of fun. All right, and this gets adhered to the Blackberry Bliss. We're almost done with card number 2. These cards are going quick tonight. This was a new fun fold I learned, and I think it is so, so cute. This is going on the Blackberry Bliss. And then I'm going to use dimensionals on the back of my Blackberry Bliss. I can get them in there. There we go. Demented, dimensions, dimensionals everywhere. And put one in the middle. Then I'm going to take the backs off. I'm using my take your pick tool, just kind of stabbing them and getting those backs. And then this goes on my piece of So Saffron. So now you should have a piece of basic white. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to try to grab a piece of basic white from my little basket so I can show you. So this is going to be for the inside. We're just going to open this up and adhere this on the inside. You could stamp this if you want to. I'm just going to leave mine white, I think, tonight. That just goes in there. And now we can close this back up again, and we're going to slide our little locking mechanism back on here. All right, so just slide those two pieces of So Saffron into the fold part. You might have to like lift it up a little bit. There we go. And you can just slide that slide down to where you want it. Okay, and then we're going to put this big thanks right on it. Oh, and I smudged my thanks, but that's okay. So I'm going to just put the adhesive right here on the little sliding mechanism. That way I make sure I don't get it. I don't accidentally glue my card shut. I don't know if anybody has done that before. I have. So this is just going to go right adhered to that sliding mechanism. We'll let that dry and find my little gems and sequins here. So that once it's dry, now that's going to be how you can open and close the card. Isn't that fun? And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to add some sequins to the front. I'm going to use the Fresh Freesia sequins. So just like that. And that is our fun fold card for tonight. What do you guys think? Do you like that? Is that a fun fold? A fun fold? So just kind of neat how it slides on and off there. Hopefully people can get into your card. They can figure it out. It's like a puzzle. So hopefully y'all are still with me. Let me know how you are doing on your cards. And let me know if you like this fun fold. I'm going to clean off my stamps before I forget. Karen, you like that? It's fun, isn't it? It is a fun fold. All right, I'm going to take my thanks. And ooh, look at that ink. So purpley. And I often just flip over, like I do that. So I have like a 2 thickness and then squish it down. And that kind of gets more into the crevices. So, all right. So fun. Oh, good, Anne. I'm glad you like it. All right. Whew. Are you ready for card number 3? All right. I'm going to set those aside. I am going to grab the piece of basic black for our card base. Let's just go ahead and fold that in half. And then in our little envelope here, you have some ribbon and you have a piece of stars, you have a piece of stripe, a little tiny piece of black, a basic white tag, and then some Coastal Cabana. Okay, so I'm going to start with the stripe. We're going to do something fun on this little stripe. If you have a blending brush or a sponge dauber or something else similar, I'm telling you, there are twine fuzzies everywhere. I'm going to use that, and I'm going to use the Coastal Cabana ink. So I'm just going to ink this up a little bit in Coastal Cabana. I'm going to tap it off on an ink pad, and then I'm just going to come in here and add that ink to this. Now you could also just take, your blends and color it that way. You could even just take it and like smoosh it down on your ink pad. Probably would be a little bit darker that way, but it should work. I don't know why it wouldn't. You could also put some re-inker with some rubbing alcohol in a spritzer and spritz the color on. So many different ways that you can color this designer series paper. So you can get stripes with black and whatever color you want. All right, so there is my black and Coastal Cabana stripe. So much fun. Let's go ahead. I'm going to take, this is the stars. I'm going to use the black and the gray stars. Now there are black and white stars on the other side, but I decided I liked the black and gray stars better, so I'm going to use those. So we're going to adhere this down to the piece of Coastal Cabana. That just goes right on here. Get it kind of centered up. And then we're going to add our little piece of the stripe paper. So there is a black and gray stripe on here too, and we could have used that, but I wanted to bring in a little bit of that Coastal Cabana. So, and this is just going to get adhered along kind of the left side. Just like that. There we go. Now for the ribbon, what I want to do is I'm going to take this and we're actually going to cut it. Hopefully you guys have some Scotch tape handy. I think I forgot to tell those of you with the card kit to have some Scotch tape handy, but I'm just going to come down here and measure this, and then I'm just going to snip this off. We're going to save this piece, okay, because we're going to use that in just a minute. And just go ahead and fold this to the back, and then we're going to tape it down. Tape the other side, just like that, okay? So there's our ribbon on there. So now we need to do some more stamping. Let's set this aside for a minute. I'm going to grab the big tag, and we are going to stamp big on here with Coastal Cabana ink. This is nice and big. Just ink that up. Soup, soup, soup. And I'm just going to stamp this right in the center. Now, when you're stamping something like a really bold image like this, it can help to kind of leave it for a minute. Okay, give it a second for that ink to soak in before you lift it up. And sometimes that will help you get a better coverage when you're stamping. So there's my big. I'll set that aside. And now I'm going to grab this little piece of black. Now, if you don't have embossing powder and a heat tool, you could just grab a piece of scrap of white. I'm sure y'all have scraps of white. And you could just stamp this on a scrap of white, or you could grab a little scrap of Coastal Cabana and stamp it in black on Coastal Cabana. That would work too. But I'm just going to emboss this. So just taking my embossing buddy and giving that a good little smoosh on there. I'm going to grab my Versamark ink pad. And then I have the little stamp that says day. And I'm just going to ink that up. Ink, ink, ink. And stamp it right on my basic black. And normally I have a piece of scrap paper, so I will use an envelope. Here. I would use this piece of scrap paper right here. So I'm just going to take my white embossing powder and dump it right on there. I'm going to grab my cross clamp tweezers. I'm maybe not going to grab my cross. No, there they are. I'm going to grab my cross clamp tweezers. Now you can get the embossing buddy and cross clamp tweezers, or some people call them reverse tweezers. And a little like embossing tray with the embossing additions kit that's in the mini catalog. So I'm just going to set that aside. There's a little bit of embossing powder on the edges, but we're going to cut that off, so it's not an issue. I'm not going to worry about it. And what's nice, I grabbed the tweezers for this because it's really small. Oh, I froze. Oh, there we go. All right. Sorry about that. So this little piece of black is pretty small. So I grabbed the tweezers so that I can hold it while I am heating it. So we're just going to heat this. Can y'all hear me okay? Is my sound really bad tonight? There we go. Because I just realized in all my moving around, my microphone was all messed up. So hopefully y'all have been able to hear me tonight. And hopefully maybe it's a little better now. Sorry about that. All right, so now I'm going to cut out this day. And again, just kind of cutting around. Very easy. You could just cut it square if you wanted to, but I'm just going to cut around the letters. Just like this. Zoop-de-doo. There we go. So there's our little day. You're hearing me just fine. Oh, good. I am so glad. All right. And then I'm going to grab some dimensionals. And look at that. That one's going to be perfect. And I'm just going to put this on my tag. So now it says Big Day. And then we're going to take this. I'm going to go ahead and adhere this to my card front. Because there's no reason for it to be separate. Zoop around. Oh, it's so nice to have a new bottle of glue. It's the little things in life, like new bottles of glue. All right, and this just goes on my card front. I love the black with the Coastal Cabana. I think it just pops. It just pops. Black and Coastal Cabana. Beautiful, beautiful colors. So I'm just holding that there for just a second. Giving it a minute to adhere. There we go. Now I want to add my tag to this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by putting some dimensionals on the back. Okay. This does get a little bit tricky. So it's not like really hard, but you kind of do have to think ahead. There goes my dimensionals. I'm just going to use some minis on here. Whoa. We don't need 5 minis. All right. So I have my dimensionals on there. Okay. Before I take these backs off, I'm going to go ahead and just string my ribbon through here. Now it's still going to be able to move after this, but this is just going to make it easier. So then we'll just take off the backs. Okay. Take all those little adhesive backs off. And now we're going to stick this through here. I'm going to go ahead and string the bottom string through my little, my ribbon there. And then I'm just going to pull it down to where it's going to go. And then I'll adhere it in place, just like that. So this tie is not actually holding it on. It's just going to look like it's holding it on. Now I'm just going to come in and tie this in a bow. And I think this ribbon makes beautiful bows. It's got a certain amount. It's, you know, skin thin. It's not too bulky, but it has a certain stiffness to it that really makes the little bows like stand up, right? Like they're, I don't know how to say it. Yeah, I hope you understand what I mean. All right, we're going to cut these with my ribbon snips. And now we're just going to do one more little thing to this to give it a little pop, because I like pop. We're going to use these little gems on here. So let me see. Yeah, these are kind of big. I'm going to use the pokey end and just grab underneath. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of make like rays. There's 1 and 2. And then here comes number 3. Just like that. So it's like, it's kind of, I don't know, it's shining over there. So there we go. There is card number 3. What do you guys think? I'll hold that up for you. Isn't that fun? I don't know. I like the colors. It's just kind of, you know, a different feel. I feel like, you know, we have the yellow card that is like soft and sweet. And then we have this black and black and Coastal Cabana and the purple one. And those are kind of like more bright and bold. Just kind of all different looks with the stamp set. So I hope that you like them. Anyway, that is our October card class. Don't forget, the November card class is going to use the Yeti to Party stamp set, which I love the Yetis. I love them. Are they here someplace? Here we go. Let me show you them. I think you've seen them, but in case you haven't, here's the Yetis, and I just love this Yeti. So the November card class is going to use the Yeti to Party stamp set. It's going to be on November 29th, I think. It's pretty late in the month, after Thanksgiving, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. And registration is now open for it. So you can pop over to my website and grab that. Jill, oh, thank you, Jill and Ann. I'm so glad you guys like the cards. It always makes me so happy when you like them, because I know, you know, I get done making them and I like them. But I never know if y'all are going to like them too. So I'm glad that you do. Thank you all again for joining me tonight. I hope to see you Thursday night. Thursday night, I think I'm using the cottage wreath stamps. I think. I think that's what I'm going to do on Thursday. But I might have a sneak peek for you too, because I have something special that I'm going to have for you guys in November, and I might do just a little sneak peek of that on Thursday as well. So I hope to see you all Thursday night at 8 p.m. Have a fabulous evening and a good couple days. See you later.